Welcome back to Income Trading 101. Today is Saturday, April the 17th, and we're going to look at some cryptocurrency today. Looking at the Balancer token. This version is versus the US dollar, and we're going to be using the Binance version, but you can definitely, one of the things I like about using TradingView is that it does actually show you a number of different other similar or other versions of the same token, just against different currencies, different exchanges, different volumes, and it'll let you compare them and lay them one on top of the next, and you'll realize that these are all pricing relatively the same. It's funny, one of the things that we've been doing that I've done in the past is a little bit of exchange arbitrage, and that's getting A, tougher and tougher to do, and B, just less viable. But there's some positives to that too. It means crypto is growing up a little bit. But let's dive in. So I like to get rid of the volume, and you can see where Balancer has been. Balancer is allows you to create these balanced pools, and so it's actually quite useful in the decentralized finance world. And they released this token, right? And I've got pricing back to last August of 2020. Price came up, came on off pretty sharply, and then grinded lower. And then in November, it kind of got a little bit of a push. It's kind of when Bitcoin really started to pop as well. You can see it pulled back in December, was kind of flat. And then this year, really February, saw a rise, a drop, another rise in March, a fall. And now we are somewhere, we just had another rise this week. So I'm sure several of you took note of this coin this week, or the token rather. Let's go ahead and get a little analysis going. So I always like to start off with just some moving averages, just because it helps to put things in perspective with the history of the price history of this item. So even though this is crypto and crypto trades all the time, I do still, at least for these videos, keep with the 10, 20, and 60 day or period methodology just for consistency. But you definitely can experiment with other time frames that might work well in your own trading. Of course, during periods of upward trending, you're going to see the 10-day higher than the 20, higher than the 60. When it pulls back, you'll see some crossovers. And this is sort of classic. I mean, right now you've got the 10 being just a few cents, 14 cents rather, 14 and change, higher than the 20-day. So these are pretty much right on top of each other, and both are higher than the 60. So that's a positive, I guess, for the possibility of an upward trend. But I'm betting in the lower time frames we're going to see a different view. So we'll take it to the 1 hour, and now you've got the exact opposite. You have the 10 is lower than the 20, which is lower than the 60, but the 10 and the 20 are still very, very close. Let's look at the 30-minute just to see if that gives us any additional clarity. Nope, confusion here, mostly because the 60 is between the 20 and the 10, so that just means that it's a little more cluttered. And one of the things with my trading style is I've learned over years, I mean, it only took me 20 years, learned to just be patient. Be patient. Wait for the indicators to look the way you want. Wait for the market to do what you want, and then take the trade. I used to always force it, like, oh, it's going lower, I'm going to go ahead and sell. And that's, I've learned some painful lessons there. So at the lowest level, at the 15-minute, we do see a scenario where all three averages are in line. Let's take a look now. We'll take this back to the 1 day and take a look at the MACD. I don't know if you guys use the MACD or not, but it's been one of my favorites for a long time because it really does a good job of showing where momentum is and possibly where it's going. Now, it has some weaknesses too, and you see them right here. This crossover back in November was great. You had a crossover, and then it crossed the zero line. That would have been a great buying signal. But then you look at sort of this sort of period here, and we never got a strong, clear buy signal again before that move higher. But when it did move higher, it trended higher. We had a crossover here, which would have been a time to start looking at selling, but it never crossed the zero line. And then we had another crossover. When you have an ongoing trend, certainly at the daily level, the MACD, I think, is far less viable. But watch what happens when we take it to lower. You'll start to get more, when this is hard too, because look how long it was flat. But you start getting a little more interesting. So this would have been a week and a half ago, April 7th, you had a crossover below the zero line. It crossed, but then it's just sort of hung out. And then it pulled higher once again. And right now, it's crossed below the zero line. And looks like both the MACD and the signal line are hovering right now. It's crossed a little bit there too. I don't know if you can see it, but it's hovering around the zero line. Let's see how it looks at the lower level at the 30-minute. 30 minutes getting some good actions. You had a buy, you had a crossover that went here. I would imagine that when this 30-minute does have a crossover of the blue and the blue is the MACD line, the red is the signal line. When that crosses over again below the zero line and starts to head higher, I'm betting that's going to be a great indication for a buy imbalancer. I don't feel like we are there just yet. We're close in the 15-minute. You see in the 15-minute, we have this crossover happening, but I really do like to wait until it crosses both the MACD and the signal line cross into positive territory, just for a little bit of confirmation that the trend or that the movement is going to work out the way I'm expecting. All right, I'm going to take this all the way back to the 1 day level once more, and I just want to get a better sense of, we're going to just look for all sorts of things. Retracement, we're going to look for support and resistance lines. We're going to do things that I think are important to truly understanding where this asset has been and where it might be heading. So always fun to see, first off, the Fibonacci retracement and see how it's done. So we are right now at the 60%, but you know what? I'm going to do something a little different. We're going to analyze each of these pullbacks. So this first one, we got a nearly 50% pullback. The second high, we had ultimately a 38% pullback. And even that might be a little bit of a stretch, but somewhere between the 38.2 and the 23.6. And up here, we are just shy of this 23.6% pullback. We'll see if it pulls back there and then heads higher. Also, just looking for, levels that may have had some recurring importance. Try and get that right on. Nothing like thinking you have a straight line and realizing that. There you go. So I'm just going to pull this. Let's see. You start to see reoccurring themes, right? Like where these levels have made sense. I love that it lets me confirm that I've made a straight line. So that first pullback made it all the way to the previous top, essentially, the close of the previous top, and found support there. What had been resistance became support. Just looking for other areas of similar support and resistance. I think this area obviously is one, because it played a little bit of resistance back here, seemed to play some support in this region as well. And now, I mean, we're coming off of all-time highs in this token that happened just a few days ago. I do think this region that we're in right now should end up playing as support as well. Doesn't mean it has to, but I would expect this to play as support. You know, this 62, we'll call it $62 range in this token. Price should just sort of tap out of that and go much higher. So certainly looks bullish to me. I would obviously, in line with being patient, I would look to let the market prove itself, because it could go through this range, the $62 level, and go much lower. So I really want to see the market bounce back higher, even if it's a grind higher, because if you notice, each of these grinds has ended up finishing in a nice, couple of days of upward, and it's pulled back, and then a grind higher, pull back, and look at that, just that pop is so strong. So anyway, that's it for Balancer token. It's one of the ones I haven't traded this token. I have actually created pools on Balancer or participated. So something I was familiar with, wanted to definitely bring to attention this today. Let me know if you trade Balancer or trade on Balancer. And also, I love hearing in the comments what you guys think of these tokens. Is this one going to the moon as well? Or have we already reached it and it's going to come back down? Either way, thanks for the comments. Please do subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to making these videos for you again tomorrow. All right, happy trading.